I want to slightly switch to something that is still involved in all this. The Elon Musk interview, which came out of the weekend with Zanny Minton Beddoes from The Economist, editor-in-chief there. A lot of news lines were made from this.
Miss Beddoes from The Economist. Boy, wasn't she just a spoonful of sugar. Well, here's the bottom line. When you come at one of the most successful humans that's ever lived on the planet, one of the smartest humans, I'm sure, that's ever lived on the planet, Elon Musk, and you attempt to corner him with your blight questions, I don't know what else to tell you other than you're going to get answers sometimes that are going to be hard for some to digest. And this is why I'm doing this video. Mehdi Hassim, he is an absolute blight on America. This guy is going to stand up for, of course, himself and his beliefs and his sand tribal traditions that he falls out of the Middle East with. But the bottom line is, Mehdi Hassim believes that the Muslims should be able to take over. He doesn't say that it's a bad idea. He totally believes in what is happening here, and Elon Musk is pushing back on it. So watch how Mehdi Hassim pulls out all of the sharpness of a serpent's tongue describing Elon Musk. It's just so disgusting.
Some about AI and so on and so on. But there was a clip of him talking about Muslims. I wanted to play to you, given you're a Muslim.
Are you anti-Muslim?
I'm against having if people are coming to a country with antithetical views. I am against that. I'm against that. You know, I'm against. I'm against rape and murder. I'm against the imposition of rules and laws that are contrary to what we've come to accept in the West.
What a great, intelligent answer. What an intelligent person to be speaking. And then what I want you to pay attention to is how, again, the serpent tongue is going to come from Mehdi Hassim here as he starts to tear down Elon Musk's ideas about American and being American. It's absolutely incredible. Pay attention to how this goes down. You'll love it.
Now, there's a lot of fallout to that, not least because as he was saying this, new numbers came out which showed that the murder rate in England has dropped to its lowest in 50 years. So this idea, which people like Elon seem to have convinced themselves have been correct, which is that, you know, our motherland is being run over, particularly by Muslims who are raping, pillaging and murdering everybody, is not borne out by statistical evidence. So there's that. Now, Zanny Minton Beddoes, editor on NBC, it's irresponsible for someone with 240 million followers, Elon, to propagate things that are simply not true. And he responded to that huge number of his followers by saying she is a traitor to the West, plain and simple.
Yes.
I mean, that is strong stuff, isn't it? What did you make of all this?
I mean, that's an understatement, but it's not strong stuff. It's outrageous, ridiculous, dangerous stuff. He knows perfectly well that he's putting a target on our back. When Elon Musk attacks people, and I've been attacked by him, you know what happens with his followers. He has a very cultish following like Trump does. It's very dangerous, and it's a ridiculous response, by the way. More than the news lines from that Economist interview was Musk himself and how he handled it. I think the aftermath and the fallout from the interview is more interesting than the interview, because this is the world's richest man who claims to be for free speech, claims to be for debate, but anytime he gets even the mildest of questions, he has a total meltdown. First of all, he rarely does interviews. I know he hasn't done an interview with you. You've been desperate to get one. He doesn't do tough interviews. He melts down when he gets semi-tough questions.
Listen to him drowned on. Listen, it was so funny when he brought up the Don Lemon interview. Even that was hilarious. The guy gives an olive branch out to a reporter that is completely washed up and didn't even have a very good position to start with. Though he was paid very well with CNN, he wasn't a journalist, and he sure proved that after he left the CNN position and how far from grace he fell. But he gave an interview to Don Lemon And it went so bad for Don Lemon. And to hear Mehdi Hassan bring that up, boy, Mehdi, you are just as pathetic as Don Lemon. In fact, probably worse. It's too bad that Piers Morgan even gives this guy airtime.
Do you remember when Don Lemon interviewed him in 2024? He almost started crying during the interview and then cancelled Don Lemon's show as a punishment for Don asking him questions about his drug use. And now you have The Economist, very sober, mainstream, centrist publication, not woke left at all, as he might say. And he calls this woman, the editor of The Economist, a traitor.
Not woke left at all. Mehdi Hassim, you are a clown. I hate to tell you, man. You sound ridiculous. And it's too bad they're not pushing back on you for saying such a ridiculous thing. And then to even talk about how centrist The Economist is and this reporter who was definitely left-leaning. This is so crazy for you to say that. But he's also going to keep putting Elon down. He's going to keep talking bad about this guy as we finish this interview. So let's listen to the rest of this.
Simply for pointing out that he doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to British and London crime stats. The three of us are Brits, two of us are British Americans. We all know here in the US, I'm sure Steve gets asked by Republicans, oh, Britain, it's a hellscape, isn't it? And it's not a hellscape, as we all know. And it's ridiculous that he pushes this bullshit. And on the Muslim line, thank you, Zanny Minton Beddoes. Too many journalists ignore the anti-Muslim rhetoric at the heart of the Musk movement and support for the far right. This is a man who funds Tommy Robinson, who supported Rupert Lowe, two of the most anti-Muslim voices in the UK, if not the West. And when he's asked this straight question, are you anti-Muslim? All he has to say is, no, I'm not. All he has to say was, I'm against anti-Muslim prejudice. All he has to say was, oh, I'm against criminals. I'm against extremists. That's all he had to say, Piers. But he couldn't do it. Instead, he says, I'm against people who have antithetical views coming into this country. I'm against rape and murder, suggesting Muslims are all guilty of rape and murder. Can you imagine if somebody asked Elon Musk or anyone prominent, are you anti-Jewish? And they didn't just say no. They said, well, I'm against people with different views. I'm against rape and murder. It's an outrageously bigoted thing to say by the richest man in the world. I'm glad she asked it. I'm sad that not enough journalists have followed up on that fact. That Elon Musk, the top donor to the Republican Party and Donald Trump, the richest man in the world, the owner of one of the most influential messaging platforms, is an anti-Muslim bigot. And that's not me calling him that. That's him embracing it.
By your standards, Mehdi Hassim, you just opened up the tent to a lot more people than I think you want underneath it by saying that. You're just pathetic. Well, anyway, thanks for listening. Subscribe to the channel. Leave me a comment if you disagree or agree. I really could care less. But more importantly is I'd like to hear what you had to say.